We are live now. Over to Marlina. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Chandan. Pranam Guruji. Namaste, Dr. Deepti ji. Namaste, audience. During one of the satsangs, Guruji said, lives of gurus are evidence of invisible divinity, while lives of artists are visible proof of same. Darpan Foundation welcomes all to Upanishad with Guruji Shri Nandkishore Tiwari, Propounder, Sahaj, Smriti Yog, and our distinguished host, Dr. Deepti Omchery Bhalla, the foremost Mohiniyattam dancer and a Carnatic music vocalist. Guruji established Universal Forum for Human Dignity in the year 2002 and founded Darpan Sahaj Smriti Yoga Ashram at Urigam in 2018. Guruji propounded Sahaj Smriti Yoga system of self-realization along with Sahaj Smriti Kriya, an absolute effortless method to explore unexplored dimensions of one's existence. As the word Sahaj indicates, this is a path simple and easy to follow by householders and professionals. Under Guruji's guidance, Darpan Foundation is consistently working in areas of sustainable living, education, conservation of nature, health, sanitation, and enabling senior citizens to meaningfully contribute to society. Through the various social transformation projects, we have made a difference to more than 5,350 students, 26 schools, and 42 villages. As India continues its battle with COVID, Darpan Foundation has expeditiously stepped in to combat the unprecedented public health crisis. Through our various COVID management initiatives, we have equipped primary health centers and triad centers with oxygen concentrators, personal protective equipment, and other essential medical supplies. To ensure the safety, health, and well-being of the very lifeline of the primary health centers, our frontline medical staff, we have delivered home-cooked, nutritious meals to them during the lockdown. We have also conducted meditation, cum relaxation sessions for the frontline workers to ensure their well-being. Karnataka Doordarshan DD Chandana telecasted a special feature covering the exemplary COVID relief work done by Darpan Foundation. Volunteering is indeed a magical experience. As volunteers, we want to give or contribute, and the entire experience is so humbling, where we realize that we have received so much more. For those of you who want to experience the magic of volunteering, make sure you connect with us. Our esteemed host, Dr. Deepti Omchery Bhalla, is a versatile artist. She is a leading exponent in Mohiniyattam, the classical solo dance from Kerala, and she is also a Carnatic music vocalist. Dr. Deepti is currently working as head of Department of Music in University of Delhi. She has received many awards, and to name a few, the Kendra Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Kerala Sangeet Natak Academy Award, Narad Gan Sabha Award, Award of Excellence in Music by Shri I.K. Gujral, former Prime Minister of India, and the Natya Ratna Award by the Traditional Temple Musicians of Kerala. She has authored and co-authored several books on music and dance. Over the last 2 decades, with the able support of her mother, Dr. Leela Omchery, an eminent musicologist and Padma Shri awardee, Dr. Deepti has been doing intense research on the traditional music of Kerala. She has contributed significantly in expanding and enhancing the Mohiniyattam repertoire and style by choreographing her research findings. The word Upanishad is made up of 2 words, Upa and Nishad, meaning sitting beside. Traditionally, seekers thirsting for knowledge would sit beside Guru and ask their questions. And that is the very essence of our Upanishads. Maximum seekers, maximum seeking is our motto. The Upanishad conversations bring in remembrance of our glorious tradition and keeps alive the spirit of seeking. We will be sharing our social media links, and we request you to visit our page, get to know about the continuous work we are doing, and if you appreciate what you see, do like, share, and subscribe. Today's topic is Bhakti. Without further ado, let us commence today's Upanishad. I request the audience to disable the video and mute the audio so that we can listen to this Upanishad without interruptions. Before handing over to our host, Dr. Deepti Omchery Bhalla, I request Guruji to address us.
Oh, ब्रह्मभूतः प्रसन्नात्मा न शोचति न काङ्क्षति समः सर्वेषु भूतेषु मद्भक्तिं लभते पराम् भक्त्या मामभिजानाति यावन्यश्चास्मि तत्त्वतः ततो मां तत्त्वतो ज्ञात्वा विशते तदनन्तरम्. I am happy for this Upanishad. The topic of the day perhaps is the widest topic I have ever handled across all the Upanishads so far. Bhakti is synonymous with life. So saying anything about Bhakti is like bringing eternity and moment into time, which is an effort. Because when you are one with your Aradhya, you don't want to leave and come in the time. You want to be there. Such is the attraction of Bhakti. Such is the purport of Bhakti. It is indescribable. It can only be experienced. As you suppose you watch some good movie, only few scenes you remember. That when you describe to somebody else, something less only will come. But what you have experienced, that only you experienced in those moments. Such is Bhakti. So Bhakti has so many dimensions. In 1.5 hours or 1 hour, as much as Dr. Deepti ji provokes me, we will go through it and enjoy it. And there cannot be better host than Deepti ji for it, because 2-3 reasons I am telling. She is the evidence who is seeing the non-Nigerian parents in this life, which is becoming a reality in the present. And both the parents are illustrious in their field, like her, or she has been in their footsteps with firmness, with same humility. She is teaching students in the premier university of the country and the world. Yet she is humble enough to say that I am still learning from my parents. So this is also a quality of Bhakti only. So with these words, I will dance to the tune of Deepti ji for 1 hour. And with these words, I give it to her. Yeah.
Thank you, Guruji. You have really humbled me. I did not know that I deserve this kind of appreciation from your end. I'm very grateful to you. And I would say that today participating in this Upanishad program by Darpan Society is a kind of a privilege. I consider it my privilege that I am interacting with Guru of your, such a renowned Guru. It's my privilege, and I consider I'm very grateful for the Darpan Society to invite me here. The other day when I was just discussing about this bhakti, this term bhakti, many things, because as a student of and a teacher of music and dance, there are many terms that in some way or the other get connected to this term bhakti. And it has so many interpretations, it has so many meanings, it's so wide that I still at this juncture, at this age of mine, I still am not very clear about what you consider as spirituality, what you consider as upasana, what you consider as bhakti. These are certain terms which are some way interlinked with each other, synonymous also maybe, I don't know. But they all lead to a particular goal. And that goal, I understand, is you're getting connected to some kind of a divine divinity. You can call as godliness, you can call as God realization, whatever you may say, supreme bliss, rasa swadhana, anything you can say. But that connection disconnects you from what you yourself. Actually, then you are actually going innermost. You're trying to retrospect and you're trying to understand who you really are. Maybe it is that. But even then, I'm not very clear, which is what I would like to hear from you. But before that, Guruji, what I have learned from my student days, childhood, then when I became a performer, then a teacher, that journey of mine, I would like to share with you some of my experiences. Perhaps that might help you to, enlighten me. Music has always been considered as yoga and siddhi. And perhaps that is one of the reasons that if you see the Carnatic music compositions, they are all devotional in nature and have been composed by saint composers of South India. Now, these saint composers, when they compose these compositions, it is very clear that that is their outpourings from their inner feelings, the outpourings of the inner feelings of what they consider to be their spiritual path leading to a divine, something divine. So they gave Rama, they may give Krishna, they may give any name to that divine soul, but they're trying to connect with that. That is why music is considered, we always learn music is the Shrestha Marga, to connect to path to salvation. We always learn that when we teach to the students also. And so if you see the compositions of Tyagaraja, he's considered as the supreme most saint composer of Carnatic music. He has written innumerable compositions on Nadopasana. Now, this Nadopasana, in some of his compositions, he says that these are the Nada and Saptaswara, they are come out of Omkara. And this Nada Rasa can be very easily be considered to be equivalent to what we call as yoga, yaga, tyaga, bhoga. I mean, these are certain aspects we talk about. So when you say Nadaloludai Brahmananda Mandavai Manasanada Loludai Brahmananda Mandavai Manasanada. So he's very beautifully he's composed these compositions. Now, as a child, while I was learning these compositions and singing also, my mother selected certain Upanishad slokas, and which she taught me, composed and taught me, like Swastir Prajabhyam Paripalayantam, then Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sahana Avavatu. That all became part of my learning music alongside learning the Carnatic music composition. When I grew up and I started understanding the life histories and biographies of very great musicians of our country, I realized, I understood was to them, music was their world. And they created a world through their music. And this creation they called as Upasana. And entertaining the audience was there bhakti, or was there dharma, bhakti, dharma, whatever you may say. Now, when it came to their personal life, when it came to their mundane life, in no way they consider anything more important than this upasana and this dharma. To them, that perhaps, maybe I'm wrong, but perhaps to them that became irrelevant, because their whole life they were committed to this music. That was one aspect. The second, so they broke away from all societal norms. Many of them, they had, a lot of issues that society perhaps might not have accepted, whatever it is. Then I started understanding, what is this upasana? Then I realized that this upasana became the term bhakti gradually because of certain reasons, to bring in morality in the society, to bring people together, understand what is the do's and the don'ts of life. That is why the bhakti emerged. So upasana, in the Vedas, I found that it is not connected to any religion. Upasana is not connected to any religion, but it is a kind of a spiritual development which requires a certain kind of mental equilibrium and an intellectual poise. So that is why when today's performers, musicians, when they say that they want to demystify Indian music, they want to some extent disconnect the classical Indian music from any kind of religion. And they want people to enjoy only for Sangeeta Rasa. They too want to enjoy Sangeeta Rasa. They want people only to enjoy Sangeeta Rasa. And so they have tried to demystify the music. That is one aspect. Now, if you see the aestheticians or the critics and the connoisseurs, they will say, no, this is a correct path, because after all, Sangeeta music is supposed to be only giving Sangeeta Rasa, nothing else. And if you have experienced Sangeeta Rasa, you have experienced supreme bliss. That is what the aestheticians say. The spiritualists also say that this comes out of the Sangeeta Rasa, comes out of a deep meditation called Upasana, which connects you to some supreme bliss. So all these things have actually created a lot of queries in my mind. What do we understand by spiritualism? What do we understand by Upasana? What do we understand by Bhakti? Is it just that Upasana, when many of the musicians say, are they really spiritualist in nature? Are they really Bhakti oriented? Or is this their artistic endeavor to reach the highest realm in their performing career? And, an obsession for seeking admiration, fan following, love from their rasikas, building up an ego in the process, caring for comfort and luxuries, all these things come into being. So is that, they really are they Upasana, or is it really, are they Bhakti oriented? So what is it? So, and how relevant it is? So these are my main questions.
Very simply you described what all is happening today, why there is so much consternation. First, let us see what Bhakti is. So it is an action which comes from root word. Importance of language cannot be overstated. Importance of language is very much there when we define anything. So music and Sangeet, when you define it, becomes entirely different. So it is Sangeet. It is Bhakti. So in Bhakti we have, it comes from the root dhatu. For everything we have in Sanskrit dhatu. So it comes from the root word seva, bhaj. Bhaj means to serve. Now serve to whom? So then you need yoga, as you said it, that without yoga, I think it is some kind of yoga. Yes, it is Nad yoga, it is called. But what yoga comes into play when there is a viyoga. If there is no viyoga, then where is the yoga? It's already there, it's already union. Then with whom we are talking about? So this says there are three things are needed. First, we have some from assumption we begin that there is only one. So that is beyond all religions, all science and everything, because through whatever discipline we approach, if it is physics, chemistry, music, anything, religion, they will all will point that there is one reality somewhere. We are connected to them. They are giving their different name according to reach of their consciousness. Bhakti begins from there. Yoga begins from there. Patanjali, while describing yoga, he begins with apadana, that you have been snatched away from your home. Now, there are so many Puranas in Indic tradition that how creation happened. Every Purana has a story. So that is to say that in how many ways you can describe that this is how it happened, this is how it happened, according to whom you have considered that supreme. So if you are considering one deity supreme, you will be devoted to that, you will say that is the ultimate. Somebody is committed to another deity, they'll say that is the ultimate. And beauty is in Sanatana Parampara, there is no contradiction. If you're in your family, one may be Shakta, one may be Shaiv, one may be Rambak, they all are fine with each other. With their contradiction, they accommodate everything. That anyway you are saying that is one only. So bhakti begins from there, that somehow you have been separated. So now you want to reach to again to that. So to the same consciousness, feeling that oneness again. And that is whole process. Now, whatever route you may take, but this is the craving that is inherent. So bhakti is inherent in us. Anywhere, wherever we are, we want to serve, we want to give us. This is inherent. No, this is something, it is not acquired. It is already there, it is only refined through our sadhana. Somewhere we call it tap, somewhere sadhana, somewhere excellence. All these words are there. So bhakti comes from there. Then second word you introduced is upasana. Up plus asana, that means sitting beside. Again, as Upanishad, same meaning as upasana, that you are doing. One meaning of that is you are sitting with somebody and or in proximity to somebody and trying to imbibe. Now, who is that somebody? Again, we go to we do not forget the root. I said, we all have been snatched away from our real home. From that one, we have become many. So we all want to reach to that oneness. We want to experience, because we are amsha of that whole. So we say we have all the potential. And that is where the role of stories come. Like we say, that's why we say if we read any Ramayana or Mahabharata, then what happens? Our intelligence becomes sharper. We begin to understand things with pure intelligence. And then we transcend that intelligence. And that is where the bhava and rasa comes. Until we transcend that intelligence, all these things which we are saying, that somebody is looking for position and they forget into that because that ego cannot be overcome until you have experienced, tasted that yes, this is real. There is something more deeper and more fulfilling than going for this and that position. You can experience that. So in that situation, we have to understand that all the time we are trying to reach that through upasana also. So so in that situation, we have to take our path, which way we want to reach to that point of oneness. All the time, we all are trying to do that. So it is everywhere, in music, when you the sangeet, again, that comes from the same root word. Satsang, sangeet means once you remember somehow, or you have pangs of separation, that somewhere you are not clear, but you feel that I was one with that, I was one with that, but now I am not feeling. So that viraha is there. So those pangs come into the music. So that becomes, you want to sing the same geet, you want to move together. That is how the sangeet comes. that the same which have Lord has sung, or whatever name we give, Devi has sung or Dev have sung, whatever name we give, you want to sing along. That is how the whole Vedic literature will fall in line. Sangachadham Samvadadham, that we move together. Yeah, or as you said, Sahinabhavatu, Sahinabhavatu. Anything you just say that union, oneness, along, togetherness. So that means togetherness we can crave only when we have two kind of feelings. That the union is possible, and that we are separated somehow. If we are already in the union, then you will serve. So there comes the bhakti. When you start serving, that is why the bhakti comes, bhaj sevayam, doing the seva, indulging in seva. So whom you serve whom you consider that this is worth serving. So who is the worth serving? So he says, so ananya as jaake mati natare hanumant. मैं सेवक सचराचर रूप स्वामी भगवंत. That all that which is there in the existence, I am the servant of all that, because I see it as your form. So this realization, when is reached, that is height of the bhakti, where you cannot differentiate between anybody. You just see them, oh, this whosoever is your arad, you begin to see everybody in that form, that it is that only walking. So till then there is journey. So bhakti is same. Anything we are doing leading to them. So upasana is same. And sangeet. Sangeet is also, you are trying through bhava, you are trying to reach. For that, again, everywhere this point of, you see, etiquette comes. If you have to learn something, then there is an etiquette for it. Without that, you do not become patra. Even if it is given, it will not go. And it becomes very difficult. So that is where I was saying that when these stories we have, like we have Ramayana. There is a story, it begins with that only one became four. It was not Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, Shatrughan different. From the same, all four parts became. Now, how will they differentiate between one and the other when they are same? So they say etiquette. No, you are elder brother, I am younger brother, I am this. But they are all the time aware that Lakshman says is very clearly in one instance when he is introducing Ram to Sugriv, that I am with Ram not because he is my brother, because he is my God. I am Dashascha Ramoham. Brother to Bharat is also a brother, and he is king, by the way, in that sense. But he says, no, this Ram moving in jungle, I am with him because I am his servant. I have found him. But has he forgotten the relations of the brother? No. So there are levels and levels in our consciousness. When we say that no, he is everything, my father, mother, brother, everything he is. But it doesn't mean that he becomes your physical mother. That will be rasabhanga. That means you are in a higher consciousness. You are thinking at that level where from one you were snatched away. In that sense, he is mother also, he is father also, he is suhrid also, everything. But in that consciousness. But here you are serving because you have reached to that consciousness. So all the refined things, wherever the sadhana is involved, tap is involved, in some or the other way, they become synonymous with the bhakti only. Because this fact, when we remember that we have been snatched away, these three things define the etiquette. And we are very clear that we are part of that with the relationship involved. And that is bhakti. That is how we can see.
Guruji, yes, I understood what you were very clearly, you have made me to understand that, as you said in the beginning, Rasaswadana is actually bhakti. So when you say Rasaswadana is actually bhakti, a performer who is actually so deep immersed in his music when he's performing. He's so deep that he's actually disconnected from everybody around himself. So that deep meditation or deep depth that he goes into can be considered as upasana. And the rasasvadana is actually experienced as per the aestheticians. I'm not saying about myself. As per the aestheticians, rasasvadana is experienced by the onlooker or the hearer, the kansen, what you may say, the hearer. So he enjoys and he gets transformed into another plane of existence. He also forgets that he's sitting in an auditorium listening or in a battle listening to the musician. He gets transformed. He just goes above that plane. So both of them are experience a bhakti of different kind, or is it the same kind? How would you interpret it?
Very interesting question and very real question. I'm very happy. See, this is the way. That is where the tap and sadhana come into place. Why it has been told time and again, tap adhar sab srishti bhavani, that it is only the tapa which is the basis for everything. So if somebody is knowing all the nuances, whole story, definitely that person's imbibing will be qualitatively different for the other who is also enjoying, but at his level. But enjoyment is there. So there are these levels of consciousness which are indescribable beyond it. Somebody from the same I have seen, or you will have definitely seen, same lila is going on and somebody goes crying and somebody else is enjoying. What a good there also. So it depends. Rasashwadan is according to what kind of vessel we have become. And now it comes whether it is the quality of the artist or whether the quality of the listener. Both. Both are needed. Te srota bhakta samsila. They say that the time when people are like that, the listener as well as the speaker, both are samsila, same kind of seal they have, same level they are touching, because all the nuances are known to both. Now, then, if some musician, you have seen it in your performances, that when you touch some exact note, exact we say it, but you know it what exact means in touching a note. You touch it, then others say, wow, it is gone beyond. So, because they are knowing it, how much you had to do riyaj for that. So there are stories and stories about it, that were often told story that Akbar's court, that he said, Tansen, that your guru, when he sang, and then it was, we could lit the lamp. Why it is not happening when you are singing? Then he says, Huzur, he used to sing for that and I am singing for you. So there is a stark difference between the day. So so many things are there. Stories say very many things in there. Nutshell. That how it depends. That is that and this is this. But this definitely has that potential to experience that by dint of being part of that. So yes, they experience differently, but they have the potential to experience the highest also if they do tapa and go properly. That is where the etiquette and everything is involved. They go proper. They say knowledge is there, but there is a proper way to approach it also. That people forget. Mostly these days, the trouble is order they forget, etiquette they forget. And it becomes very difficult because on a higher plane, single bhava can be translated into many bhavas. You know it. When you are the same face when you are a dancer, you are showing navarasas. So the same face, same emotion is there. But you are putting in one way and it is different. Putting another way, it is different. But the tattva is same. Love is same. So that, how much you do. Say, bhakti, there are so many acharyas in bhakti. Narad is prominent. So he gives us 84 Bhakti Sutras, quoting earlier Acharyas, because that is the tradition of it. We go into Brattas. Anybody telling anything, they'll say, earlier this happened. Even Ram and Sita telling earlier what happened. So we say, Deva Bhage Yatha Purve. Even Vedas and Upanishad are saying that earlier, not now. Your Nasitiya Sut said even further it goes. It said even maybe gods don't know what was there, who was there. So we are that open kind of people. Our openness is unimaginable anywhere else. That kind of open persona we have in this for the wisdom. So in that Bhakti, Narad is saying, also asking what are the things? These are 84 sutras, but I will describe 2-3. He says immortality and love. Through bhakti, you get immortality. Immortality is a quality of bhakti. A bhakta becomes immortal. And love. So where from we begin, there only. In spirituality, when you say what is spirituality? Spirituality is first step as well as the last step. What is first, that is lost also. Love is the beginning and love is the end. All love, when I say love is the beginning, love is the end, that means in a human garb. But in this garb, you experience till the eternity. There are 5 fields, I have roughly devised them. That from love, you graduate to dharma, to truth, to non-violence, to eternity. These are 5 fields. But you experience them as consciousness. But on field, you will be doing, behaving like a person, a loving person only. So that is the beginning and that is the end also of the bhakti. That how much you become good in that your behavior becomes full of love. So that rasashwadan will add to it. That you say there is different. Yes, if one person is full of love, it is entirely different experience. One is in a turbulent situation, it is a little bit different. One is in a all ears to listen, then it is same as what artist is enjoying, and listener also reaches to the same what it is possible.
No, there also, yes, Guruji, you're very right. There also, we have studied that as per Bharata's Natya Shastra, that each one of the spectator or onlooker or hearer, Rasika, when he goes to listen to a concert or when he goes to view a presentation, he has certain samskaras which are dormant in himself. Without that samskara, he's not a human being. He has to have those samskaras if he has to experience those feelings of love or any emotion in him. And those samskaras come out in the form of a rasa swadhana when he experiences that through a presentation of a nata. That means through a natya. He experiences those rasa swadhana only because he has those dormant samskaras within himself. So that is what we have learned like that. And so they say that whenever you go for a performance, like we are all human beings. Generally, what we say is, oh, if I find somebody who is a better singer than me or a better performer, I would try to, in a normal state, I would try to find flaws in that person. So when I go to see a performance, I generally go with a prejudiced mind. So with that prejudiced mind, I am unable to enjoy the presentation or appreciate the performance of that person. Okay. Now, these are certain very negative qualities, but this is something we are not able to get rid of us. Because I feel the reason is that there is a deep insecurity in all artists. They fear that even if they are good in their field, they will not be somehow heard or appreciated by people. And there'll be somebody who will be overtaking them all the time. So that fear is always there within every artist. Now, how do we get rid of this fear and take it that this upasana, wherein we disconnect when we are performing, which actually gives us all a sense of elevation. When I perform, and suppose I feel that my performance has come out spectacularly and audience have appreciated, I also am happy that I have done well. When I go into the green room for a long time, that sense of elevation and satisfaction remains with me for a long time. It remains with me. So, but even then, in the mundane real life, I may have the same jealousy, envy, insecurity. So how do I get rid of that?
This is sign of humility of an artist, because you are asking question for others. That's like in Ramayana they say, Pucho Prashna Jagat Hitlagi, that you have asked this question for the welfare of the world. This is Shankara telling to Parvati that you have, it is not that you are lacking knowledge, it is that so that world comes to know. Otherwise, if you don't ask, I don't tell. There is no story. Yes, this is exactly the problem which you said. And the solution also you have told already. Only I am just reframing it. You have given the solution also along with the problem. Because in spirituality, this solution comes first, later comes the problem. And if one comes to know this, then one is through. That how I am giving solution, I am not asking question. You have given solution. See, as Bharata is saying, there are some sanskars are needed. If you have to, without that, you do not enjoy that rasaswadan. As we in literature, as we call that Brahmananda, you Brahmananda Sahodar, that you reach to that. So, how? What is that sanskar? That is sanskar of dhi, because anything there are these things vivek, which we call, or dhi. Vivek has so many meanings. It means discernment, it means knowledge, it means wisdom, it means infinite meanings vivek has. This is very beautiful word, vivek. So another word for it is dhi. So dhi has 8 sanskaras, it has been told. What is that? Shushrusha, Sravanam, Grahanam, Dharanam, Tatha. Uhapo, Arthvigyanam, Tattva Dhiguna. So through these sanskaras, when your buddhi is purified, then abhyam sattva sansuddhi. Until you have abhyam, that fearlessness, till then your sattva is not shuddha. And when sattva is not shuddha, you will not have this feeling that I have been given this opportunity to perform for the ultimate. Whatever else is coming as a fruit of that yagna, I will accept, whether it is praise or it is anything else, negative articles about me, so be it. All this is prasad, yagga shesha, as we call. Whatever you have done, you have to accept the yagga shesha. That everybody has eaten, now this is left for me. So when we are anyway snatched any little bit away from that, then we feel all these things. If we are all the time in that eternity, in that union, that I am singing for my Aradha, then whatever else is happening in the world, like Hanuman says, Mohe na kachu bandhe kaik laja kin chahu nij prabhu kar kaja. When he is there in the Ravana's court, and he is capable of removing that Brahmapas, still he says, no, Jo na Brahma, that I should obey this. I mean, I should be in a position, do not cross this maryada, this etiquette. Let Brahma's word be fruitful. So I will be bound by that. So he says, I am not, I have no shame in dancing or getting tied there, because I have to do my master's work. So when the artist is in that mode, living evidence of that has become, no, I am doing it for my ultimate, whatever you are saying, somebody is sadhak, no, for my ultimate, reaching to my ultimate crescendo, that is what I am doing, what I feel, or sadhaka, whatever their ruchi may be, they are doing for. So if they are all the time into that, then this will never come. It is impossible that such a feeling will ever come. And if we are in not that, then it is impossible that this kind of feeling will not come. So both are that way. So we have to, that is what the sadhana is, all the time staying in that. And one should not be, for new artists or new people coming with humility, I want to say, they should not be in a mode that, no, I could not do it now, then how will I do now? It is like that only. I will again give one example for Ramayana when the Sita's Agni Pariksha happened. So Dasrath also appeared there from the Swarga, as they say. So there Shankar is telling to Ram, say namaste to your father. There also, there is some dialogue that he says, you are still having something against my mother, Keke. Ram is telling to Dasrath, please forgive her. That is what I want to ask for. So even when we have passed away, then also dosha and gunas are there. So one should not get scared or feel oneself low that I could not overcome till now, then how am I going? Even if one moment of life is left, till then your evolution is happening. There is a chance, equal chance till that. So, but we try to reach to that state where we are doing it for the ultimate. And that only upasana, sadhana, anything holds a meaning. Because this component, we should be very clear. And these components, how they become clear? Through pure intelligence only. When the intelligence is pure, then only we see, because that there is somebody to propitiate. That is for what this is there, that there is a goal, there is a day where I have to reach. There is a place from I have been snatched away. Otherwise, what are we doing? So that clarity comes from the dhi, and once that comes, then people become humble like Ram or Sita. Like Hanuman tells the Sita again, when the war is over, that I want to punish these Rakshasis who were scaring you. Then she said, no, no, no. What are you saying? Why should they be punished? They were doing what their master told. And one should try to experience, try to exercise piety. Now, it is not that Hanuman was not knowing that, but he said, Mother, you only can say such words. Then she says, but you only can hear such words. So, that kind of clarity is there. How this has come? Because that union, that etiquette, that relationship is very intact, very clear. Sita knows who is she, Hanuman knows what is his role. So that clarity, when it is there in an artist, that what for he is or she is into art, what is the purpose of my art, what is the ultimate aim, then all these things will become just like things on the path which come. When we are traveling somewhere, so many stations come. Somewhere we may not get even water. Somewhere it is everything is available. So these are not taking to head, because you are immersed in your own heart. Whatever else is happening, like as you before we informally talking, that how your parents took it, that no, this everything else is secondary. This is my passion. This is my life. Then that is gradually overcome that. Thank you.
Guruji, I'm still sort of restless. Restlessness is still in me in knowing that when I'm on the stage, I'm not talking about myself, just maybe many other artists. When I'm on the stage and performing, singing, what you are saying fits into my upasana or meditation, because I disconnect from the world. I'm singing and I somehow get connected to another plane, whatever you may say, rasaswadana. I experience some kind of a satisfaction. But when I come down and I leave the stage, I come back to my real self. Now that is where the conflict starts. That is where all kinds of negative qualities come. That things like, why did I not get the publicity? Why did not so many people, organizers, arrange for a good audience? Those small little things, many things. I mean, you would understand what I'm trying to say. I don't want to be very explicit. So if that comes into me, then have I done justice to my bhakti? Have I done justice to my music? How can I say that music is alone my life when I have so many other important, needs to be taken care of? So how do I balance that with the real life?
Very real question. And that is the purpose of the Upanishad. So we have so many roles. An individual We are parents, we are children, we are friends, we are teacher, brother, professor, so many roles. And every role comes with a set of sort of, role expectations. Not very clearly defined, but somewhat. Because why well not very clearly defined? Because we are evolving in our consciousness all the time. So if somebody is somehow excels into something, he puts a new definition that now it can be seen in a more finer way. Intelligence is uncertain, one can see in more finer way. First, let me say first thing first, that you are doing justice, or artist is doing justice when they are performing 100% to that. Now that part is over. Now comes the world later on. So there are so many sanskaras in our life, so many lives we have lived according to the, I am not saying anything else. According to intelligence, if we see purify, then we will end up concluding that we have been living in various lives. It is not the first and last. That there has been vrittam. So when every vrittam, some kind of impression is attached. In some relationship, we have done something. And that becomes impression. So that time, it is nothing to do in that sense with the music or art. It got to do with that impression of life. So that is into play, that we say karmic account. For comprehensiveness, we say karmic account is there, which we have, this is our karma. When nothing is definable, something is, we say it is our karma. We have to undergo, despite knowing everything. It is karma. That is so beautifully can be understood from Sanatana Parampara. That how they crystally clear make it to us that this is how karma operates. So in that sense, you are doing justice, or artist is doing justice, but when they have come down, then their life karma is become. For that time, the transcendence was there. So we should be grateful for that. That I, in this body, I was given such an opportunity that for some time, publicly I was transcended. Which people do in their loneliness and meditate to reach to the same. Publicly, it has become an evidence that I had transcended. And you have not an iota of doubt about it, because it is your own experience that I had transcended. Now the whole world is saying, no, our artist is writing, this journalist is writing. No, this was not to the perfection. But what I experienced. Something is missing, or something is not going according to, with some malice or with some politics. That is part of life. That was all the time there since the whatever we call it creation or human society happened. This keeps on going. Two individuals begins. The thing is there will be problems in understanding each other, which is part of life. So we have to take it at the lesson, same discipline. And with the dhi, to what extent it is in balance, then we may laugh it off also. Sometimes we may take it to our head because we are not in that position of equanimity. So all this has to be, and this is positive also in a way, because that brings some fire into you. Next time I'll do better. Next time I'll do. Even if others have done something which you thought is not deserving. That is called karma. And if we are clear, then it somehow we come to know also that, like, see, in every vrittam, something is happening, good or bad, people are describing, especially in negative words. Dasrath, when he is about to die, he remembers his past. He said, oh, that boy was killed by me. Perhaps that is why it is happening. Who is telling him all this? Because his screen has become clear, so the memories are coming. That because of this has happened. Now, all the time, our struggle or our parakram is the right word. Struggle is a bit negative. That's why I say role of language is very important. These Indic languages are very, in that sense, looking for the other. Parlok is very much there all the time in everything. So they are doing parakram all the time against that fate. All the time they are fighting that that fate, that parakram they are doing, they will defeat the daivam. We'll defeat the daivam. Daivam, they are not considering something very good. They say that is there, what can be done? Now through our parakram, जैसे राम says मानुषेण मया जिता है, देव संपादितो दोषो मानुषेण मया जिता, जो देवताओं से संपादित दोष था मनुष्य, मैंने मनुष्य होकर उसको जीता. That he is saying after he has Ravan is killed. So he says you were snatched away to the Sita by this not right way, in wrong way you were snatched away by the Rakshasa. So Dev Sampadito Karma. So all the time we are trying to reach to that. So all these things which we call prarabdha, we try to work at it and with parakram, and we take all the criticism positively. Not, as you said, no, not taking somebody that somebody else is criticizing me. It is my karma, otherwise I will not get it. Just like Ram says, no, if it was not there in my karma to go the vanvas, I would not have got it. Sita says, so many Jyotisis have told me I will definitely go to the jungle. How can I not go? I would have been surprised. So I have to go. I will come with you. So this is to whom we have described as from parampara. These are the perfect characters. Means have all the qualities. They are also accepting that. The such things happen in life. But we have to take them positively and all the time keep that fire going on. And that transcendence. And then we become free from it at some moment.
Thank you, Guruji.
Should we commence the question and answer session? Guruji?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Okay. So we will be starting our question and answer session. We have a lot of questions from the audience. The first question is addressed to Guruji. What is the self-test for a sadhak to know that he or she has bhakti?
Self-test is humility. Self-test is clarity. Self-test is having a loving heart. Self-test is being disciplined. Self-test is being, as I said, devoted. Again, that you have no doubt that you are devoted. These are few things.
Thank you, Guruji. Our next question is addressed to Dr. Deepti ji. Dr. Deepti ji, you mentioned intellectual poise during the starting of the Upanishad. Could you please elaborate what you meant by this?
See, I think Guruji explained that a little more in detail in this session. If that person, whoever has asked this question, would have listened to this whole session that Guruji had, spoken, he would have understood that. He wouldn't have placed this question to me, because very clearly it's understood to reach any kind of a point, or a point where you find that you have attained something which lifts you, kind of and elevates you from where you are actually, you were earlier, and you reach that point where you find that you are completely elevated in every sense of that word, from being your own self, from being what you are actually, you get transformed into another complete different plane. That transformation you cannot really understand if you don't have some kind of a poise within you. You have to have some kind of a thinking, a buddhi, to tell you what is it you are doing and how you are doing it. Some kind of a buddhi has to be. Otherwise, how can we be different from animals? We are different from animals because of this intellect that we have. If I'm, Guruji, correct me if I'm wrong, because only because of this intellect that we have, that intellect, how do we make it stabilize? That intellect is what I understand. If I stabilize my intellect, then I'm able to actually experience that, what kind of what do you say, a supreme bliss, rasa swadhana, or anything that you can, any term that you can use for them. I can experience that only when I have a certain buddhi or certain intellect, which has to be poised, which has to have some kind of an equilibrium. That's what I understand by that. Maybe Guruji would be able to say that better.
No, you are very right, very clear. There is no confusion into it. It's clear.
Thank you, Dr. Deepti ji. Our next question is for Guruji. How can one incorporate bhakti in everyday activities?
This is, as I said, that one has to figure out one's purpose in life, one's goal, and that happens through knowledge. Obviously, through knowledge, you figure out who you are, what for you are here. If there is no purpose in life, is it possible that way? Then life becomes meaningless, and meaninglessly, nothing can be done. So, there is definitely a purpose, there is definitely a goal to life, there is some journey. So, all that when one thinks about one's whole destiny, that what for I am, who am I, and then bhakti is definitely to come. So we should not postpone that. See, there is I remember this time one character from Ramayana again, Kumbhakarna. See, there are every character has something to teach. When Ravan is calling him for fight, he says, "Look, king, the person who does what should be done first, that he does later, and what should be done later, that he does first, he cannot be considered wise." So now, after you have done all this, you should have asked me earlier when you were going for you see, Janaran to pick up Sita in a manner you picked up. That was the time you could have. Now, what is the point? I am your relative, I am your brother, I'll die for you. Fine. Because there is no option. So, what is first? First is you have to figure out your life, what for you are. That is why here in this Brahmachari ashram, when our old education system was there, the first you taught for 25 years. Now also education is teaching that, but that order is missing. Proportion is missing. As I say in education, proportion of the education should be 50% of your content should be how to live, because all of us on this earth are living and we are not knowing how to live properly. So, and 25% of the education roughly should go for your profession, what you are doing, excel into that. And rest 25% is what you should how to add to that, do some research into that and do. So there are three divisions, but 50% I am giving to that, because ultimately you want to live a good life, you want to be happy, you will not go for any such knowledge which doesn't make you happy and peaceful and contented. For everything, so you have priorities should be clear. This education is not making priorities clear, that this is how it is. This is the order of priorities. In this, we all will live. The whole earthlings will live this way. So then, those who have this craving for getting to the real knowledge, first they should know their goal in life. Then they will definitely become automatically bhaktas. There is nobody is making them bhaktas, because they'll realize that this is my connection and this is the way to walk on my path. And that walking alone or living alone, as I say, life is bhakti is synonymous with life. There is nothing extra to be done for the bhakti. What you are doing, if you are doing that, that is what the sloka I said in the beginning. Brahma bhutah prasannatma na sochati na kanchati samah sarveshu bhutesu mad bhaktyam lavte param. He said automatically you reach to that if you have become like this. This is not that by this, by that, you know. If you have become like this, then bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tattva tato mam tattva gyatva vishate tadanantaram. He said that is how you will enter into me. Now once you are inside the divine, for you were looking, you are home free. Now you have become that, part of that, but you should never for a fraction of moment forget that. That is where when we are snatched into the time, and that this all problems begin. If we are all the time in that Paramananda, then let it be. But it seems, as I say, it looks very ideal It is difficult in life, but at least we can remember that such a reality is there. We have to yet to reach. We have not perfected ourselves yet, but it is not that destination is not there. It is not that this is not real. I have not attained to that, but it is real. How I know? Through the journey of my life. So honestly, truthfully, and knowing oneself that this is how I am, this is my relationship. But the reality is, one automatically becomes bhakt. And there are two simple things given. Karna kya hai? What have to be done to that? To whomsoever you consider that this person is knowledgeable in the world. But nobody can say that who is knowledgeable. It is our heart. It is the which says, no, this person knows what I am looking for. You go to that person, humbly say namaste and ask your queries. That's all you have to do. Nothing else. Two things. Namaste means humility. Namaste is not that something he or she is getting if you are going to somebody whom you consider great. It is not that by your namaskar is some value is going up or something is happening or some ego is being satisfied. How can such a great person be egoist? It is impossible. So it is for ourselves to become the worthy patra. Supatra, that we bow down. When we bow down, then only siphoning happens. So we ask our question and we get clarity. And when we get clarity that this is who I am and that is how our path is, and then bhakti automatically comes. And it has been all the time there. Like again, I will give that the same example. When the Sita's Agni Pariksha, though, which is very, people say in different tones. Somebody say it did not happen. That is debate for another time. But as it is reported by Valmiki, it happened. So that time, Ram, so all these ethereal beings are saying to Ram, "What are you doing? Why are you not saying no to her? She is jumping." He does. They said, "No, you are God of the gods. Don't you know that?" Then he says, "Look, I know only one thing. I am Ram, a human being, son of Dasrath. Who else I am, that you people will tell. My knowledge is this. So I am doing according to my Manushi Vivek. Human discernment accordingly I am doing. And I have described myself very clearly what I am doing." He never said Sita to jump. So such is the reality that even to whom we consider ultimate, he is clear enough to say, "No, I am simply a human being. And now how you have seen me, that you will tell me. I will listen to you. Otherwise, my journey has been like this. I met to this seer, that saint, and that is how I have been walking all through my life." So clarity, when you get, then automatically you fall in line. And that is what the order of priority is all about. If we know what should be, I coming back to the words of the Kumbhakarna, who was in long slumber. And when he wakes up with such an, burning knowledge that what is the point? In two simple words, he says, what should be done first, you are doing later. What should be done later, you are doing first. Namaste too, I will go and fight for you. So that situation should not reach. We should do what is to be done first. He said, Subhasya Shigram. Later only I say the Ravan learned this lesson, but when he was passed away. That is the message he gave to Lakshman. Subhasya Shigram. What is good must be done fast. What is not good, please keep postponing. Maybe your intelligence says it was not needed by to do it. But if you end up doing bad first, then the cycle, karma cycle begins. So that is the way to bhakti. Do what is first. Decide your priorities very clearly with very clear mind. There is no escape from your becoming a bhakta or servant, because that is what any divinity you name, they say, I am the servant. You are not. I am serving you. Because only I have capability to serve. You don't. Because of the humility, they don't say that. But this is how it is. Is saying that Sita is describing to Ravana about the Ram in two sentences. She says, he gives. He is the one who gives. That is how he is. That's it. And
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, Guruji. Our next question is for Dr. Deepti ji. When we look at any of the Indian traditional art forms, they are very closely linked to spirituality. How, according to you, Dr. Deepti ji, is art and spirituality interconnected?
See, as I said earlier, from my childhood, we have had festivals, so many occasions where, whatever devotional compositions were taught to me, whether it was Janamashtami, I would sing Krishna's devotional songs. If it was, say, Ram Navami, I would sing Ramas. If it was Navaratri, I would be singing Devi Stutis, So every festival, India has had so many festivals that we've had all musicians and all dancers have had occasions to present their art as a kind of a devotion offering to that particular deity. That offering to that deity is how you are actually connecting your art with some kind of a divine soul. I mean, some divine spirit, something that is there. So for me, the spiritual journey has been a connection of my art with something that I have not been able to see, but have been able to feel. That's all I can say. And perhaps that I would consider as spiritualism. That's something that you can't see, but you can feel. So that is what my art has done. As I grew up, that I consider that my art connects with something when I'm performing or when I'm singing. It connects me to something which I may not be able to see, which is not visible, but which is certainly gives me some kind of a feeling that I'm connected to something. I don't know whether I'm able to explain that. You see, like suppose you go to a temple. I go to a temple and I'm praying. It's a Krishna temple. I start praying. I start singing. I'm seeing a rupa of Krishna. And I get connected because it's an idol. There is some kind of a visible thing that I see before myself. So obviously, because it is visible, I'm able to, perhaps in the beginning, I'm able to sing with all kinds of devotion, everything, I'm able to do that. But towards the end of when I close my eyes, after singing and, doing all the puja, every ritual, when I close my eyes, I have only that image where I'm actually getting myself disconnected from the temple surroundings, the people who are standing around me. I'm just one with that particular idol or whichever is in front of me. So that is what I consider as a spiritualism. That's what I consider. And plus, the fact that it also towards the end, now I have grown so much from my childhood, youth and all, I've come to a stage where I've also come to realize that, as Guruji very rightly said, there is a goal in everybody's life. We should not forget that. If we don't have a goal, then we can never experience a spiritualism in our life. We have to have a goal. And how do we reach that goal is what we have to decide. Nobody else can help us decide. We have to decide that goal, the path that leads to that goal. And over so many years, I've realized that I have also created a path to reach that goal. And I have found that it need not be always having conflicts, hurdles. Hurdles are there, challenges are there. But all the time, you need not have a conflict with those challenges. You can just change it into some kind of an opportunity. You can still go ahead in that path and reach your goal. This is what I have experienced in all my 60 plus age now that I have reached. I think I've understood to quite some extent what Guruji was saying, that spiritualism is something that only you alone can experience. Nobody can inbuild in you. But that intellect buddhi is perhaps what will define your spiritualistic nature, your temperament, your attitude towards life. It is that intellect. So we have to give that a thought.
Marlene ma'am, you are on mute.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepti ji. The next question is for Guruji. Guruji, you have always emphasized the importance of language and how Indian languages convey the meaning so correctly. But our education is given mostly in English. So how do we resolve this situation?
Yes, we have a situation. We cannot run away from the situation. So for purpose of earning livelihood, if I say no, stop teaching your children English, that will be atrocious. You have to let them go with the world as it. But along with that, what you can do is teach them your mother tongue. Your mother tongue, that in turn should become their mother tongue. And one additional language, Indic language, if you can teach, any one you can choose. Because if I name some, there will be again controversy. Why this? So any.
I'm not
Is
able
it?
to.
Yeah, we cannot hear Guruji. Guruji is on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, Guruji is on mute.
Your mic is muted, Guruji.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes. Now you're audible, Guruji.
Okay. So I will again, I don't know where it is. So there we have a situation that we have three languages we should keep in our mind for our children, for ourselves, possible. That, am I audible again?
Audio is not clear, Guruji. Still not clear, Guruji. Looks like the mic is not.
From this it is not good. Open it. Am I now? Yes.
Slightly better, Guruji. Yes.
Okay, but it is there now at least.
Yeah, it is clear now.
Okay. So I'm saying we have a situation that we will have to teach our children three languages. One, yes, English, one mother tongue, and one another language. We can any Indic language pick up. What will happen with that your home situation will also improve. Your bonding will also be different if you are speaking to mother tongue to one another or whatever language has been there all the time. So if those who have mother tongue also in English, they will have to do little extra effort. They should otherwise they'll not know their Sanskriti, their tradition, how rich it is. So that they should keep into mind. Possibly we should say that this is your lot children, you will have to at least, though if we put it positively, then it is good only they are learning as many languages, because in childhood it is easy to pick up as many languages. Once you age, then it becomes difficult to pick up different languages. In the childhood, such issue is not there. So we should try to give them at least three languages. We should try to teach them slowly, and that will keep them connected to their roots. And when the time comes when they are on the forum, then they can clear the things like so many are doing when they are speaking in English. Like this Upanishad also, we are pointing towards that this is the way. But you have to take this along. You cannot, because otherwise if you know only your languages, then you cannot communicate in other, then you are dumbed down. Then you are rubbished. Everything is done because this we are seeing. I mean, recently only I was reading somebody's article and it was well written that how few people knowing English are dominating the scene, which is a very clear description of the things. Why this is happening is means a long debate over there, but this can be understood by all of us that this is happening. So we cannot say no, we will deprive our children out of that. Once the time comes, then you can change the priorities. That's all. Whether it will come in this our time only or in their time or thereafter, we do not know. We have to face the situation. Once it comes, then you can turn the coin, put the things as they were, so that they are connected to their roots. Unless you are connected to your root, you do not feel at home at your heart. This is clear experienceable, that you must be connected to your roots. We say no that Matrubhumi is Swargadapi Gariyashi, means that is the meaning, that why it is more important, because we feel connected. So that we have to slowly have to do that, begin to teach that. This should be taken as a challenge. And go ahead.
Thank you, Guruji. Our next question is for Dr. Deepti ji. Today's generation seems very disconnected from our rich traditions. How can we bring them closer to their own culture and traditions?
See, the reality is that we have all, for want of jobs and livelihood, many of us, I mean, when I say many of us, means our parents and even grandparents were forced to leave their own soil. They had to travel, they had to leave their soil, the place where they took their birth. For their livelihood, many of them had to venture out of their regions. So many of the new generation have got, naturally it is a third or a fourth generation. So obviously there is this a disconnect with their region, with their soil, because of several reasons. So this is a very natural thing that has taken place. That if you suppose I belong to Kerala, my parents and grandparents, now they are living in a place like Delhi. Until and unless the parents do not build up that environment in a house, like I have got an environment in my house where we speak only in Malayalam with my parents. We have the same kind of food, the same festivals like Onam we celebrate. Whether somebody is with us or not, we are not concerned. But this is something that we must have. That those traditional things that keep us bonded to our region, if that environment is given to any person, any generation, whether third or fourth, I feel they will still remain connected to that region, because when they go back to that region, they will not get alienated. They're already been surrounded by that. They were brought up with that, in that surrounding. So that atmosphere, that ambience, that environment has to be recreated by the parents or the grandparents who've left that region, who've left their place of birth and shifted out because of several livelihood or several reasons. Mainly it's livelihood, I would say. Now those children, it's very unfortunate, but those children have got some way disconnected from the customs and traditions and the food habits and the normal life that people in that region have been living. So the only way I find, this is the only way that you can bind your children to the region of your forefathers or ancestors, by creating an ambience and an environment in that house where the children don't feel disconnected from their roots. As Guruji very rightly said, you have to get back to your roots. The children have to be told what are the things that their region has given them, what are the treasures that the region has, by way of traditions, by way of customs, by way of traditional art forms, whatever it is. The history, the development of that region, all have to be told again and again to their children, for them to get a feeling that yes, they belong to that region. But many a times I have found that this is not happening. The children, when they are brought up in a completely different region, they blend with that environment. They completely get disconnected from their roots. That is what we have to ensure that does not happen.
Thank you, Dr. Deepti ji. Our next question is for Guruji. Spiritual paths are generally categorized as Bhakti Marg, Karma Marg, or Gyan Marg. Is it possible for a path to be segregated like this?
No, it is not possible in single word. All are connected to their tendencies of one more in one person is have one kind of nature, more bhava, that means becomes bhakti. More towards intellect, it quotient will be towards jnana. Somebody is more into execution, that is his will be karma, but all four move together. So this division is just for the sake of tendency, which is more tendency. Like in all of us, we have sat, raj and tam, or we have bath, pit and kaf. One is prominent, so we call it by that name. It doesn't mean that others are not there. So that division is not possible in whole existence. Only all the time realizing that how that unity is fundamental, diversity comes secondary, and through diversity again we are going back to the unity. But this diversity is functioning on the bedrock of unity, which has been called by very many forces. Gravity to me looks very attractive, Gurutva, Karshan. And other, as he say, this scientists are also discovering other forces like weak and strong nuclear forces, electromagnetic force. So things ultimately, but they are also saying, indicating some way that gravity seems to be at the root. So there is some indication. All things are there. All the bhaktis are bhakti, karma, gyan, all are related. They cannot be separated. This dissection is a Western concept. Union is our way of looking at things. That we do not see. We say always say that these parts are lesser all the time from the whole. Whole is always bigger. Why? This is how it is. But we say that you can also reach Purnamada, Purnamadam, Purna, Purnamudachite, Purnashu Purnamada, Purnameva Vasishyate. That is the way of looking at it. That is also whole. This is also whole. And from that only we have come. So we are also. Still that is left whole. That is how it is. So that union we have to see in every, whichever way we go, whichever we find prominent in us. But that is only prominence, not the separation. There are always union in all the margas. Yes, Varun.
Thank you, Guruji. Our next question is for Dr. Deepti ji. Dr. Deepti ji, you mentioned that everyone should have a goal. Many people have materialistic goals. Shouldn't the goals of a person be towards universal welfare?
I think that Guruji will be he will be the best person to answer, because when you say goal, you know, at different point of your life, there are different goals, right? As a child, I wouldn't know what my goal is. When I start studying, I'm told that what is my interest? My parents would naturally ask, or anybody, my teacher would guide me, what is your interest? So I would say my interest is music, because I want to become a musician. So my goal then becomes how to acquire knowledge, how to acquire good gurus to train me, how to learn music, how to practice, how to become a performer, so that when I start performing, my art is appreciated by people, right? At that time, money does not come into my being. I don't think so. It has ever come like that. It may not be even coming for others also. But when you become a profession, when you take it up as a profession, then your goal becomes a little different. Then your goal is that how do you make a livelihood out of from your art? Art does not become just a connection to the divine. There, art also becomes your profession. And it is very natural when it becomes a profession. There are many things that come into being, which comes naturally. You're getting a comfortable lifestyle. You're getting attention from rasikas, as I said, that and a performer sometimes wants only to be appreciated by the audience. For him, that is the biggest wealth that he can have. At that time, he forgets that how much money is going to earn by that. When he gets that applause, he completely forgets about the money aspect or anything that is connected, any kind of such comfort that comes out of that. So there the goal becomes a livelihood. There the goal is how do you earn from your profession. And then a goal comes naturally when you it becomes a livelihood. Many things that connects you with that livelihood becomes an important aspect of that particular goal. Once you have crossed that goal, then the stage comes when you feel, oh, you have got everything in life. So what is it that you want? You need a peace of mind. You need some kind of a sanctity to what you have done in life, your art, some kind of a sanctity to your art. Your life has to have some kind of it should become meaningful. That stage is the stage when actually, what I said is some kind of a mental equilibrium, when you're completely at ease with yourself. Till that time, there is a lot of struggles and conflicts within yourself. Each one of us have to attain, that's the final goal. When you feel that this is what I am looking for. In the beginning, you cannot say that I'm looking for peace and sanctity. I think that is not realistic. But a time comes when you feel the conflicts and struggles are actually now over. And now you need to sustain yourself and be at peace with yourself. That stage is the actual goal. That is what I have found, especially as an artist. I'm not a businesswoman, or I'm not since I have not taken any other profession. For me, that is what has I have understood by my art and profession.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deepti ji. We have come to the last question, which is addressed to Guruji. Humans are considered superior to animals, but then why are some of our Upanishads delivered by birds and animals?
Oh, when we say, see, these are the things. When we do generalization, women are like that, men are like that, we know we are lying to ourselves. We are satisfying, or we are agreed by something, we are venting that out. Same thing holds true to it. From when the animals have become secondary. See, I give you an example from the same Ramayana. When Hanuman is asking the same example, I said that should I beat up these Rakshasis with your permission? He says, no, don't you remember the parable? There used to be a hunter, a bear, and a lion. Lion was after hunter. So hunter jumped and reached to the tree. And on the tree, when he looked up, he found the bear was already there sitting. So now this lion is asking to the bear, he is a human being, not of ours. Please throw him down so I satiate my hunger and go. We are animals. Then he says, somehow he has become my guest because he has ended up in my home. I can't do that. And then the bear is sleeping, naps for some time. Then this lion down says to the man, anyway, I am hungry. I need only food. You pull that bear down so I eat and I go. You are free then. Man tries to pull that bear. Now, who is animal here and who is non-animal here? How will you describe? But bear somehow, being in the practice of sitting on the trees, holds on to the another branch. Then again lion says, look, what man has done to you. You had entertained him as a guest. You did what the Atithi Dharma is, but what your Atithi has done to you. Now at least you throw him down. He says, no, it is not my Dharma. People make mistake in life. We should have pity enough to forgive them. If we have been given that opportunity, if we are in that equanimity of mind, and then why should we may have also done so many mistakes in life. We are getting this one chance to be little compassionate towards the other. And this is the God's blessing, or whatever you consider that you have been offered this chance. So who is animal and who is man from this parable? It is all the time we are talking about the virtues. So we should not go by the appearance. Because we say that's why the stories become important. In appearance of man, there may be animality in us. Among animals also, you may have seen so many, we don't even call them animals. Why? Cows we don't call animals, because we have seen their qualities. In ashram, cows, every one of you have that experience. How they look at you the moment you go to the ashram. How they're sitting around them, changes something in you. So animality is not that way, may not be defined. So this is all we speak about the consciousness, that if we get onto that consciousness, which is universal attribute of divinity, all the qualities which we, to sum them up, we put one word, divinity or divyata or something, godliness or something. But what we are saying, those attributes, those bhavas, that what you feel towards other, that this is also my part. But there is a relationship involved. So these stories have been told in a way to remind you that even animals do evolve. Then despite being human, why are you not evolving? So if those qualities are not there, you say, Esham na vidya tapo na danam, jnanam na silam gudo na dharma, te mritya loke bhubi bhar bhuta manushya rupena mrigascharanti. They said, roop to manushya ka hai, but they are animal in gav. So they are indicating towards those qualities. If you do not have these qualities, then you become animal. If you have these qualities, then you become divine. So we have to make a choice whether we want to evolve as a divine being or we want to devolve as an animal being. But it is neither saying anything about the animal per se nor about the man per se. It is about qualities. It is about experience of the ultimate truth. That is how it should be seen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Guruji. Thank you, Dr. Deepti Omchery Bhalla ji, for sharing your knowledge and experiences with us. Thank you, audience. We shall meet again in our next Upanishad. Namaste.